Hello, this is Mike from Dimensional Walking. Today I want to talk about a subject that I've been interested probably all my life, and it's the Sumerian civilization. So, the question I'm going to pose here, was the Sumerian civilization Earth's first direct contact with aliens, or were they, the Sumerians, actually alien beings? Okay, so the ancient Sumerians was one of the earliest known civilization. So they left behind a wealth of mythology that continues to intrigue scholars and enthusiasts alike. Central to their belief was this entity called deity, basically called Anunnaki. So this deity, according to the Sumerian text, descended from the heavens. But the question always is, were these gods merely, the Anunnaki, were they merely symbolic representation of natural forces in human struggles, or could they have been actual extraterrestrials? That is the big question. So are they gods? Are they aliens? What are they? Anunnaki were described as powerful beings that played a critical role in shaping human civilization, all human civilization. Some interpretations suggest that these deities were mythological figures, but rather were not mythological figures, but rather technologically advanced extraterrestrials that visited Earth. Their theory is fueled by ancient texts that depict Anunnaki as descending from the sky, often in what appears to be flying vehicles. Okay? Sumerian mythology, like many ancient belief systems, was rich in metaphor and allegory. There is this Enuma Elish, it's a creation epic describing the cosmic struggle among the gods, with Anunnaki playing a pivotal role in shaping the world. While they argue that these stories, uh, are purely symbolic, others believe that they are historic in account and that these encounters with beings from other worlds, and they were encounters with beings from these other worlds. Artifacts and cuneiform tablets from ancient Sumer depict humanoid figures with elaborate attire, sometimes representing modern descriptions of extraterrestrials. Some researchers suggest that these predictions could have or based probably on actual encounters, meaning that what they saw is what they draw or what they wrote about was actually true encounters. While skeptics argue that these are simple artistic representations of the divine beings. So there's something else called the ancient astronaut theory, which argues that the Sumerians' advanced knowledge in astronomy, mathematics, engineering may have been influenced by extraterrestrial visitors. They point to similarities between the Sumerian myths and other civilizations' accounts of gods descending from the heavens. One that just comes to mind, of course, is Mormonism, who talked about God or their God, what they believed in at the time. Rona came down and brought tablets down and had a ship. Okay, that's one. There's many others very similar ones. So there are these similarities between the Sumerian myths and other ancient civilizations accounts for descending from heaven, suggesting that shared experience of contact with beings from beyond the earth. So I guess I want to say here is that there's all these kind of epic stories from around the world, no connections to each other, are telling a similar story. Okay, and to me that sort of says, yeah, guess what? Maybe the aliens did come and bring stuff to us, or brings, stuff to humans to enhance them. Okay, but anyways, I go on. I digress. So So there's this, of course, this skepticism and scholarly views that we have to consider here. While the ideas of extraterrestrial contact is fascinating, mainstream scholars caution against interpreting ancient texts too literally. They emphasize the importance of understanding these myths within their cultural and historical context, arguing that Anunnaki was likely a symbolic representation of natural forces and social uh, structures rather than actual alien visitors. Okay. Now, the question of whether ancient Sumerians encountered extraterrestrials simply crafted elaborate myths representing remains open for interpretation, of course. While Anunnaki continues to fuel the speculation and debate, the true nature of these beings, whether divine, extraterrestrial, or purely mythological, remain one of the history's enduring mysteries. So, let's continue a little bit more with the ancient astronaut theory, which is it's a remarkable theory in many ways. The Sumerians were the first to develop advanced systems of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering. They understood complex planetary movements and even documented celestial bodies in ways that seem strikingly advanced for their era. Some of their researchers argue that this profound knowledge hints to, of course, external influences, perhaps extraterrestrial, of course. So, another thing that the Sumerians left us was this rich writing system called the cuneiform, which allows them to preserve vast amounts of information on these clay tablets. Many of these texts recount myths featuring Anunnaki, which were said to have passed down wisdom to humanity. Could this knowledge have been merely the result of early human ingenuity, or was it inspired by encounters with advanced civilizations? Then, of course, there is another famous Sumerian writing. It's the Epic of Gilgamesh, which provides a glimpse into the divine and cosmic elements woven into their stories. Some of the scholars suggest that reference to gods descending from heavens could symbolize celestial beings or extraterrestrial visitors. Others caution, of course, against the modern interpretations into these ancient myths, arguing that such stories primarily serve spiritual and social functions. So there was another thing, another kind of main concept. It was called, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, the ziggurnauts. This was a massive, these are these massive step temples built by the Sumerians. Pretty amazing, actually. They actually rivaled, as far as I am concerned, the pyramids, the Great Pyramids, okay? So these towering structures were said to serve as bridges between heaven and earth, reinforcing the notion of divine or otherworldly interaction. Some of these ancient astronaut theories propose that the ziggurnauts function as landing sites for extraterrestrial beings. But mainstream historians, of course, they assert that these were sacred places meant for worship and ritual. So, despite centuries of analysis, okay, the question remains that Anunnaki exist as literal extraterrestrial beings, or were they symbolic constructs designed to express human understanding of the power and the unknown? Without definitive evidence, the debate continues and will thrive among the historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts. At the core of this mystery speaks to a deeper desire to seek connections between ourselves, to explore possibilities that transcend our earthly origins, and to imagine a universe where ancient civilizations may have shaped by the forces far beyond our own. Okay? That's where my belief system is. But just how crazy is the universe? That's my question. Or as the aliens told me personally one fateful day in Peachtree City, Georgia, reality is not what it seems. and I've never forgotten that. Anyways, with all that said, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.